They really, really do. I mean...
Time for us to convert.
It's time for us to convert. I mean, we have our very own in-house gamer, Gareth, out there with its all reviewing.
Civilization. Civilization 6. So if you're a fan of world-building games, ones that really push you to think hard and at the same time present an opportunity for you to learn about history, well, this one that Sulu and Gareth went and checked out is the one for you. It's called Civilization 6. Take a look.
If you're a fan of strategy games, then you're in for a treat this morning. We're reviewing Civilization 6, which has moved from PC to console. I'm with our resident gaming guru, Gareth Woods, to talk more about this game. Gareth, tell us about Civilization 6. What exactly is it?
So Civilization, obviously the sixth one in the franchise by a guy called Sid Meier, who's just been the absolute guru at these sort of like world-building games. So Civilization's traditionally been on the PC, on computer, and now they've finally moved it on to console, so on the PlayStation, Xbox, so guys can finally experience there. Essentially, it's a world-building game where you try and pick one of the kind of famous civilizations, whether it's the Egyptians or the Romans or the Zulus, whatever, and you try and build your civilization from essentially its early origins to potentially the stars, where they, you know, interplanetary, traveling across from Mars to Venus and whatever. So really you can take your civilization in multiple different ways. You can also play through some of the more famous kind of battles and incidents that each of the civilization had. So if it's Genghis Khan, you know, trying to invade China, if it's Alexander the Great trying to take over Europe, you can try and reenact those or change the course of history and redo them in a different way if you want.
Wow, so how often do we see this change from PC to console?
So you get a lot of ports where games move, you know, the games that were famous on PC moving onto console, and vice versa, where games that are traditionally landed on console move onto PC. What's quite interesting is that you don't see this too often with strategy games. So generally the major limiting factor hasn't been the hardware, it's just been the fact that the controller's not as good, I suppose. But I have to say the guys who developed this game done a really good job of making quite a complex series of instructions a little bit easier. I mean, given the fact you've only got about 6 buttons as opposed to a keyboard full of different inputs.
You're talking about a strategy and changing the whole of Civilization. So what exactly would be my game plan playing this game?
If you start a game, you can choose your leader. So if you want a random leader, otherwise you've got all the some of the famous ones. You've got Gilgamesh, and there's Queen Victoria. We've got you know, Shaka's there. You've got Teddy Roosevelt, a whole bunch. Choose your difficulty, all the way from, you know, Warlord to Emperor, Immortal, Deity, all makes it more difficult. Game speeds, you can make it faster or longer if you want. You can play online. The different continent types. I mean, you can literally go down to how do you want it to be the Earth? Do you want it to be an inland sea? You can choose your continent because that might change the way you play the game. But let me jump into an actual game now and show you a little bit. So here we jump into the map. As you can see, it's got this kind of isometric feel, so you can see pretty much the entire map that I've explored. You saw I'm playing as Saladin, and I'm kind of starting the city of Cairo there, my population of 3, so really, really small, humble start. But you can jump into the menu and decide, like, say I want to build something. So I can build districts from a city center, holy sites, barracks, wonders, and that little number there is how long it will take to build. So if we decide to build an oracle, which is a big kind of temple, it's going to take 26 turns, which in this game is heaps of time. So it's going to take a long time to build that, so my workers are set to that. I've got some farms built here. Let's zoom in. So the guys are at the farms. I've got some archers there ready to defend it. But if we move them to city, I can take my one warrior here, for example, and move him over the side. Who's over here? He's exploring. Oh, we found some banana plantations, I guess, over here. And so they're different resources. So here are chemicals, there are bananas here, obviously some wheat, diamonds or some sort of mining stuff. And what happens is you'll go about researching different things. So I researched animal husbandry. So now that allows me to use animals as part of my farming. Before that, I had to rely on only herding and that sort of stuff. But now if I find animals, I can bring them onto the farm and do my own thing. There's so much to show you. What I want to show you is like how they've managed to get all the menus on the controller. So I can jump into my pantheon. So these are like my, I suppose, the religion that I'm founding, you know, whether it's a single deity or multiple deity, depending on your religion. My governments. So, you know, how I have my different policies. So from discipline to I've got a God King or whatever, that you set different policies and that gives you different benefits. And then your, you know, different research pillars and that. So I can research archery or ironworking or masonry, pottery, all that, and it takes a certain amount of turns to fix or to do, but then what will happen is I'll get the benefit of that. So yeah, lots of different stuff. But yeah, that's the game. As I said, there's so much to show. It's a little bit difficult to do it in the space of a couple of minutes, but yeah, if you're looking for a strategy game, it really is going to tick a lot of boxes for you.
This looks really fun. Who is the game for, and what rating would you give it?
Okay, so the game's obviously a little bit more intellectual, so it's for someone who wants something a little bit more laid back, something they can think through, you know, apply their grey matter to, as opposed to some of the like run and gun reflex games. If you're looking for something a little bit more chilled, it's for you. It's also a little bit of edutainment. So for parents who are looking to try and like squeeze in some education into their kids' game time, might be something for them. But what I really enjoy about it is the different options you have. So really from choosing what continent you want to play on and which civilization, and then how you want to change the course of history or reenact famous historical events. It really is great for that. As far as the score goes, I'm going to have to give it probably an 8 for those who are in this kind of strategy space. It kind of builds on all the stuff that the Civilization games have done in the past. Then really this does well.
Wow, there you have it, gamers and parents. This is edutainment at its best. I can't wait to play the game.